Hi, welcome to Family Law Friday presented by Florida Women's Law Group. My name is Betsy Corbett and I'm the marketing coordinator. Family Law Friday is designed to be a resource for all women with a family law issue. Today we will be discussing emotional abuse. Before we get started, I wanted to give you a little information about our host, Heather Quick. Heather is the founder and owner of Florida Women's Law Group that advocates for women in North Florida. The firm educates and empowers women on the law so that they can find the strength to endure the process and come out better both financially and emotionally. She's been a licensed Florida attorney for over 20 years, with the majority of her practice being in family law. Please join me in welcoming Heather Quick to Family Law Friday.
Thank you so much, Betsy, and thank you for joining us today as we continue talking about an issue that affects so many individuals. And of course, we represent women only, so I'm really speaking to the women out there who are experiencing these kinds of issues and this kind of abuse, which is maybe not as obvious. But when I start talking about it, you're going to recognize, oh, this is me. I am in this situation, or I know somebody who's in this situation. When we talk about emotional abuse, it tends to be subtle at first, and I really don't think you recognize it's happening. It's one of those things that builds over time, and as that abusive situation is growing, your self-esteem is usually decreasing and their control is increasing. Now, I know if you've watched the videos, particularly on narcissism, you're going to recognize this, because this tends to be very much resembling a narcissist relationship, because this is what they do. They emotionally abuse you. And it's by the roller coaster, it's by that, they love you, they shower you with gifts, but then they just cut you down. And if you look at the cycle of domestic violence, that cycle of abuse, you'll recognize it, and you'll say, oh, even though it wasn't, a physical punch or slap, the words, and then here's the feelings, and this is that cycle. And it's control, which all of these things are by a bully, and what they're doing is their actions, their behaviors that are impacting you. And I'll tell you some of the things that are some of the most common, but certainly the control over your daily life. Like, where were you? Well, how long have you been there? Like, I thought you said you were going to lunch with Betsy, but like that was 2 hours ago. Who else was there? Now we're going to talk about financial abuse in the future, but similarly, like, I think many of you, I know, because I've spoken to so many women who are like, oh, he gets a notification and he'll be like, were you at Target? And they think they're like sitting there monitoring, the bank statements all day, wondering where they are. But it's the controlling the daily life, like, where are you going? And in the beginning, it might seem like flattery. Oh, you should wear, your pink dress. Oh, no, wear that red top. Or are you really going to wear that? I think you should wear this. Again, it's control. May begin as flattery or seem like, oh, he's being helpful. But over time, it's really, it's scary when you see the way it develops in that manner. Now, what is so common, you see all the time, is the isolation. Starts out, he just wants to be with you all the time. And it's all about you. Oh no, don't go over there. Don't, let's not go spend the night. Let's not go out to dinner with that couple. I just want you all to myself. And then more and more, and just begins to detach you. And again, remember what I talked about in the beginning, like, as the control increases, your self-esteem goes down. And so it's a combination. So then you're not going and seeing your friends anymore, because you really don't want to hear it from him. You don't want if he's going to berate you, the yelling, the anger, or, which can be almost worse, complete silence, completely ignoring you for hours, for days. Like, just, and a lot of women say that is worse. And it's so eerie. It's just like, it's awful. to go through that, and just to be ignored and just complete silence. So cruel. And, you know, again, I talked about like critical of your appearance, but then, you know, going to have a lot of opinions, and those are going to build and on your family and your friends. All the people who are your support, who are going to give you the strength to stand up for yourself. If you look around and you're like, oh my gosh, that is me. Like, when was the last time we went to visit my family? You're going to know, like, that was what was going on there. And in the beginning, you're going to feel like you're defending yourself. You're going to be defending your actions and, you know, what you've done, or why, you know, when you said you were going to be home at 5, you're not home till 5:30. And then you're going to get to the point where you so want to avoid that confrontation and that defense of something that you're going to just try to make sure it doesn't happen. So then that's like where that control part, like, yes, you're the one who's just trying to avoid that confrontation because it's just so debilitating to you and just is so uncomfortable because it demeans you. It makes you feel so worthless. That's part of how that works. Then you're going to be on eggshells. Have you ever talked to somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, it's like we're walking around on eggshells, we just don't know, but we don't want them to explode. That's what that is. Why not? Well, because he can't control his emotions and he can't control his behavior. So he's making it everybody else's problem because he just does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. If he wants to scream at you, he's going to scream at you. If he wants to, you know, criticize you and yell at you, that's what he's going to do. So then you have to stop having your friends come over. You're just embarrassed. Like, oh my God, you just don't even know if he's going to go off. Because he'll do it a few times in front of your friends, and then, you know, nobody's going to want to come over anyway. Who's going to want to see that? And that also may happen out in public. Now, of course, he's going to apologize. Eventually, he won't even. In the beginning, he does. But then he'll feel so empowered and in control over you, he won't. And you won't go places with him. Or you'll wear what he says you should wear, and you won't even be yourself. You're not even yourself anymore if you're in this situation, because he's really chipped away at who you are by these actions. And again, it doesn't happen overnight. It's over time, and it is subtle. Now, your friends will notice. Your children will notice, because he may or may not, you know, it's usually it'll be with you, and your children may or may not know. You know, your children will notice. They may not feel as much the victim of it, and they just really don't want anything to do with it. But they'll know what's going on. Of course they do. And they're going to try to protect you and help you through that. But it's no way to live. And I encourage you, if you are in this situation, to really gather the strength to be able to stand up for yourself and know that you deserve better. And I don't care if he is paying all the bills and he's got all the money. You deserve to really have control of your own life and not to be, you know, shamed into this person who can't even, you know, stand up for herself, who has no privacy. And, you know, just because we're in a marriage it's not a prison. It's not supposed to be. And if you feel like that, it's probably not really something worth fighting for or staying in anyway. It's supposed to be a partnership. And you should be able to chat with your friends when you want and have your text messages and things. And there's nothing wrong with that. Usually the person who's so suspicious and so, you know, controlling over you, they're the ones that have the problem, and they're the ones probably cheating or flirting or doing whatever. And they're just really, they're just basically, putting that on you and saying, oh, well, you're the one, and that's why I don't trust you. It's because they're out there doing things that probably aren't very trustworthy. Or obviously they're not a great partner if they're already treating you like this. And so they're belief or understanding of how to be in a meaningful relationship where you're equals and you work together is somewhat distorted. So, this is a tough topic because I really hear so much of this. I hear a lot, and I know how that, I know exactly just what those situations are like. I've just been around it for too long, and I urge you to really find the strength within yourself to, get some help. Start with therapy. Talk to an attorney. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to build back up. If you've been in this relationship for months, years, decades, it doesn't happen overnight where you're able just to, get up and feel like you were the person, before you got in that relationship. So it's just really beginning to take those first steps that are going to help you build back your strength and stand up for yourself. Stand up for your children. If your children are watching this, what kind of role model, is your husband providing, or are you? It's not going to be good, and it's not healthy. So if you're in this situation, or you know somebody who is, please reach out to us at Florida Women's Law Group, because I built this firm for women just like you who are in a situation that they don't see a way out, and they're just not sure how to get there. But we can help you, and we will help you. We'll help you get out and make, you'll be stronger and better off for it. So please reach out to us. Betsy will give you our information, and I really hope that this reaches all of the women who need to hear it today.
Thank you so much, Heather, for that valuable information. We are here for you, whether you are a victim of emotional abuse or domestic violence or have any other family law issue. Please call us at 904-241-0012 or look for us on the internet at floridawomensLawgroup.com. Thank you so much for joining us.